I used to think I didn't like westerns, but when Tarantino makes one, I'm not going to very well miss it. Tonight's review is on the Hateful Eight, which, despite what the title says, follows a group of 9 people who are all staying in this tavern for a couple of days during a huge snowstorm. However, it soon becomes evident that some of these people may not be all who they seem to be, and hostilities rise among the group, leading to some bloodshed. When I first heard about this movie, I was fairly excited for it since it is the newest film by Quentin Tarantino, but at the same time, I was feeling kind of skeptical because in the past it feels like he's done such a wide variety of genres in his movies that now he's directing this Western movie right after he made a Western movie. But after seeing it, I have to say this feels completely different from Django Unchained. If anything, I would consider this to be more of a suspense thriller that just so happens to take place in the Old West. I mean, once it's revealed that some of the people in this tavern are up to no good, you can honestly just cut the tension with a knife. And then there's a later point where it becomes more of a whodunit mystery, which just makes it even more fun. And the film definitely has rewatch value to it because I honestly can't wait to revisit the film now that I know what everyone is up to, just so I can closely observe how they interact with the other characters. And of course, the film still has Quentin Tarantino's style of humor going for it as well. In particular, I found Samuel Jackson's character to be hilarious in this movie. There's a scene where he has this monologue, which has been highly commended by other reviewers, and for good reason, because, I mean, it's awesome. It's Samuel Jackson giving a monologue. What more do I have to say to convince you why it's so awesome? And I'm not really going to spoil much here, but he says some pretty horrible things during this speech, but even as he was saying them, I couldn't help but crack up a couple of times because the man is just so charismatic and entertaining to listen to. Now, one problem I could see some people having with this film is the length of the picture. It runs for about 3 hours long, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with Tarantino's work or, haven't seen any of his movies before, but just so you know, if you are interested in seeing this film, there's going to be quite a bit of talking in it. This isn't a problem with me, of course, because as is always the case with any of Tarantino's movies, the dialogue is what makes the movie awesome. And despite the length, I was invested all the way through. There are these shots at the beginning of the film which go on pretty much forever, but they were just so beautiful to look at that I honestly didn't mind. I was fully sucked into this movie and I enjoyed it every step of the way. In the end, if you're a fan of Quentin Tarantino like me, I know you're going to see this movie regardless of what I have to say, but if you're not familiar with him, like I said, if you haven't seen any of his films before, then this really wouldn't be such a bad introduction as long as you can sit through a 3 hour movie. The Hateful Eight is pretty fucking awesome. And that's all I've got to say about this movie. I hope y'all have a good one.